Hey folks, this is Riker with a gaming news wrap-up video where we discuss the happenings of the week. This week's topics include highlights from all the game announcements this week, how expert free-to-play players feel about Diablo Immortal after a week of play, a Diablo 4 job posting for a product manager for managing the in-game shop, and more. As always, discussion timestamps can be found in the description below. But right before you skip ahead, just a quick reminder to ring that sub notification bell to be alerted to new Saturday episodes and stay up to date with gaming news highlights. Now before I move on, just a quick word from this video's sponsor, Squarespace. I built my website, Riker.com, using Squarespace, and I was able to do everything myself quickly and easily and with zero education in the field, all thanks to how easy Squarespace is to work with. Just watch how easily I update my website. Squarespace is flexible for any kind of website, whether for your business or your hobby, with tons of templates that you can easily customize to your needs, no knowledge of coding required. You can even connect your social media profiles to automatically push website content to your socials, and even set up members-only areas with exclusive content. Basically, if you want to build a website, I recommend Squarespace. So head to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/Riker and use code Riker to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. That's squarespace.com/RHYKKER and use code Riker to get started today. Now, getting into the news. This has been a big news week thanks to not E3 and all the gaming presentations devs and publishers have decided to host in the absence of E3. And speaking of E3, it has been confirmed that E3 will return next year as an in-person and digital show. Now, the not E3 presentations began last week and will continue to run until Monday. Now, one game we spoke about last week was Sonic Frontiers, and fans are now begging the devs to delay the game. The hashtag #DelaySonicFrontiers was trending on Twitter after fans were underwhelmed by the gameplay reveal footage, which has roughly a 50-50 split on likes and dislikes on YouTube. The fans are hoping that with a delay, they will improve the game. Clearly though, this is all a brilliant marketing play, like with the Sonic movie when fans complained so much about Sonic's appearance that the filmmakers went back and changed things, which was then met with huge fanfare, a big win. So the game devs clearly have a secret better version of this game waiting on the back burner to reveal so they can show how much they have improved things following feedback, right? Right? In other news this week, we got the official teaser trailer for Netflix's Cyberpunk Edgerunners series, which will premiere in September. This is a standalone 10-episode anime about a street kid trying to survive in Night City, and it seems like it's going to be pretty faithful to the game's setting. In other news, a new class-based online action RPG has been revealed by some former World of Warcraft devs. Chris Kaleki, a 13-year Blizzard veteran and WoW game designer who left Blizzard in 2020, co-founded Notorious Studios along with former Blizzard software engineer Doug Fraser. And they also brought in a small army of former WoW employees, from artists to gameplay engineers. The game they revealed is called Project Honor, and it's set in a stylized fantasy world. In interviews, they put a lot of focus on capturing class fantasy, and while it will have some typical MMORPG features, it will not be an MMO. You can play solo or with friends. This is definitely a project to keep an eye on. And speaking of projects to keep an eye on, Hideo Kojima, creator of Metal Gear Solid and Death Stranding, is reportedly working on a new horror game called Overdose, according to industry leaker Tom Henderson. Henderson claims to have been sent early footage. Now, in the past year, there have been multiple reports that Kojima Productions have 3 unconfirmed games in the works. One of those is rumored to be a new Silent Hill game. We've had leaked concept art. Then actor Norman Reedus leaked a Death Stranding sequel back in May, and so it seems that Overdose would be the 3rd game. Kojima's expected to have a presence at the Xbox and Bethesda showcase on Sunday, June 12th, so we may see the official reveal of Overdose then. Then the Summer Games Fest this week saw a ton of announcements. Frost Giant Studios, which is formed from a bunch of former StarCraft 2 devs, revealed their upcoming game, Stormgate, which is set to release into beta in 2023. And Stormgate is slated to be a return of the RTS. It'll be free to play, with no pay to win, no NFTs, the devs clarified. It's a blend of sci-fi and fantasy with future humans fighting aliens and demons. You can play solo or you can play co-op through campaign missions with up to 3 players. There will be a 1v1 competitive ladder. There will be a map editor like in the old school classic RTS days. The game engine will support hundreds of units in large-scale wars, and the devs want to keep the skill ceiling high, but they want to make the genre more approachable by lowering the skill floor. This is basically going to be StarCraft 3. This is the StarCraft 3 that the Activision Blizzard execs never allowed them to make at Blizzard, which basically forced them to have to leave the company and make their own company to make the game. It is a little funny that the units that we're seeing seem to look like a blend of StarCraft, Diablo, and Overwatch. If you're an RTS fan, this game should definitely be on your radar, and if you're not an RTS fan, this game has a good chance of being the one to make the genre popular again. We also saw at Summer Games Fest some gameplay footage for upcoming horror title, The Callisto Protocol, made by former Dead Space devs. The gameplay showcases a new weapon called the Grip, which is a gravity gun that can grab and shove enemies, as well as rip them apart. And speaking of sci-fi horror, a new Aliens game was revealed, Aliens Dark Descent, a squad-based, single-player action game in which you lead your colonial marines through a xenomorph outbreak. This one will release in 2023 on PC and console. We got a trailer for Fort Solace, a narrative-focused third-person horror game. We got a trailer for Routine, a first-person sci-fi horror game designed around an 80s vision of the future. Man, everyone is making a sci-fi horror game. We got the official reveal trailer for psychedelic horror game Layers of Fears, sequel to Layers of Fear. We got a new gameplay trailer for Witchfire, a dark fantasy shooter that actually looks pretty cool, and it's going into early access later this year. We got the release this week of The Quarry, a spiritual successor to Until Dawn. It's a choice-based narrative game about an old horror trope. A group of teenagers trying to survive a summer camp, and then the creatures show up. Naughty Dog revealed that they're working on multiple projects, including a new standalone multiplayer title that they're not quite ready to unveil yet. This week also saw the last day of filming for The Last of Us TV show for HBO. They're rebuilding The Last of Us from the ground up for PS5 and PC. It's going to have new AI combat, new animation systems, and more. The PS5 release date is September 2nd, and a PC release will happen shortly after. We got a release date for Marvel's Midnight Suns, that's going to be October 7th. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson showed up at Summer Games Fest to promote Black Adam, which will be in theaters October 21st. We found out Guile is coming to Street Fighter 6, like there was any doubt, and got some gameplay footage of him in action. We also got the first trailer for Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, which is not the same game as Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, which released in 2009, but rather the sequel to the Call of Duty Modern Warfare reboot from 2019, which is the fourth installment in the Call of Duty Modern Warfare series, following Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. Therefore, both the second and the fifth installments in the Call of Duty Modern Warfare franchise are called Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. The series is returning to Steam, coming to PC on both Steam and Battle.net on October 28th. The sequel to the reboot will feature a new campaign, new multiplayer mode, they'll bring back past characters while adding new ones, but altogether it is a standalone experience. And it's also planned to release on mobile in the future. We saw new gameplay footage for upcoming Cuphead DLC, Delicious Last Course, which releases June 30th. We got a hilarious trailer for Goat Simulator 3. We got more details for Genshin Impact developer MiHoYo's two new upcoming games, Honkai Star Rail and Zenless Zone Zero. We got more details about JRPG One Piece Odyssey, which is releasing this year. We got an extended gameplay trailer for Warhammer 40k Darktide, releasing September 13th. We got an update on Warframe's upcoming expansion, the Duviri Paradox, and we got the Nightwing trailer for Gotham Knights. This isn't an exhaustive list of everything that was revealed this week, but these are some of the highlights. Then moving into Diablo news, starting with Diablo 2. Resurrected specifically, we found out that there will be updates coming for the lobby, coming soon even. PezRadar said, quote, "The team has been working on a pretty significant update for the game that will improve the PC lobby experience, while also incorporating a major overhaul of the lobby system on the console version of D2R. We expect this to be in the coming weeks. Once we have more details on the exact date, we will be sharing that here on our forums." This is great news because the lobby experience isn't great and can use some improvements. In Diablo 4 news, a job posting for the game has recently been noticed, and the timing of it is unfortunate. Coming right off the back of the backlash against Diablo Immortal's monetization, people have noticed that Diablo 4 is looking to hire a product manager who will, quote, play a critical role in managing the Diablo 4 in-game store experience for millions of players around the world. As this is a key component of Diablo 4's seasonal content strategy, you will be the tip of the spear planning the content release schedule, configuring products using our internal tooling, and working with stakeholders across disciplines to ensure regular updates to the store throughout each season go smoothly. The key responsibilities for this position include, quote, manage the virtual product offers of the Diablo 4 in-game storefront throughout each season to deliver an exceptional player experience. Utilize internal tools to configure product contents, pricing, and availability. Assist with scenario planning and maintaining the shop content roadmap. Organize and maintain an ever-growing catalog of virtual products to facilitate communication and analysis. Work with the analytics team to help identify sales trends and quantify purchase behaviors. Of course, a lot of people are now assuming that Diablo 4 will be riddled with the kinds of microtransactions that we're seeing in Diablo Immortal. But call me an optimist or say it's copium, but I don't believe that this will be the case. Diablo 4 will certainly have an in-game shop, that's without question, but I don't believe you'll be able to buy power the way you can in Immortal. At BlizzCon 2019, lead game designer Joe Shelley said during a Q&A, quote, "We will sell a base game and expansions. I can also confirm that we will not sell power." Then in an interview with streamer Quinn69 later in the same day, Joe Shelley confirmed that there will be cosmetic MTX and an in-game shop. Since then, Joe Shelley has taken on the bigger role of game director of Diablo 4. Now, of course, things can change in 3 years, but it's worth specifying that when Diablo Immortal was revealed in 2018, and for years thereafter, anytime monetization was brought up, anytime people asked about pay to win, the response they gave always was, "We're not talking about monetization right now." They never said, "We will not sell power." The D4 devs said from day one, from the reveal, "We will not sell power." And again, call me naive, call me whatever, but I believe them. Diablo 4 is going to be a live service game, meaning it's going to get more love and attention and updates on an ongoing basis than D2 or D3 ever got, since those games were not designed to be live service games. A live service game needs to be funded by some form of ongoing monetization, be it a subscription or microtransactions, and microtransactions are optional, subscriptions are forced on everyone who wants to play. So it's no surprise, and it's been clear from the reveal that Diablo 4 would have monetization. If I had to guess, I'd guess a battle pass and cosmetics, similar to Fortnite, which is highly profitable and does not sell power. And if the executives were even considering forcing the devs to sell power, I think the backlash around Diablo Immortal has made clear that this will not work on PC. With Immortal, they could afford to have the game bomb on PC, because even if no PC gamers, or even existing Diablo fans, would pick up the game, it would be popular enough on mobile and make enough money on mobile that it wouldn't matter. The mobile market is just so huge, it has eclipsed PC and console gaming. The sum of money earned on mobile is greater than that on all other platforms. It was revealed earlier this week that Diablo Immortal already has over 10 million downloads. However, they cannot afford to take that same risk with Diablo 4. They can't risk D4 bombing on PC and console. Millions upon millions of dollars have been spent developing Diablo 4 for the past 8 years through one or multiple reboots. And the plan for this game is for it to generate revenue for years to come. So if the execs get too greedy, the game will not live long enough for all the microtransactions to pay off. And that would mean that Blizzard's first real flagship, fully new AAA PC release since 2016 will bomb. But we'll just have to wait and see. And if the execs do force the devs to break their promise of not selling power, then if and whenever this would become public, we need to make noise about it before the game releases. In Diablo Immortal news, the game is sitting at a Metacritic user score of 0.5 out of 10, making it the second worst rated Blizzard game on Metacritic. Worse even than Warcraft 3 Reforged, which has a 0.6, and beaten only by the classic version of World of Warcraft Burning Crusade, which has a 0.4. The main criticism of the game, of course, is its monetization. You have the ability to buy power, and The microtransactions and shop are frankly unbecoming of a Diablo title. While it's par for the course for mobile gaming, people expected better from Blizzard, though they're probably forgetting who's really pulling the strings. As former Overwatch producer and outspoken Bobby Kotick hater Tracy Kennedy says, quote, "Game directors and producers don't decide how to monetize a game. Games have commercial teams for that, and even they are under executive pressure. So it's not all on them either. If a game's monetization makes you angry, be mad at the execs. I just keep seeing people blaming devs for Immortal's monetization, and it makes me so sad. Those devs care a ton. It's really not their fault." We're now over a week into Diablo Immortal, and there's been a lot said about the game. There's been a lot of heated comments. There's been a lot of misinformation from people who barely played the game or didn't play at all. And one thing I've been really looking forward to seeing is the feedback of people who put a ton of time into the game and learned it inside and out to give a fully, truly informed opinion on everything. And those opinions have been coming in now, and we're hearing some disappointing results. I want to highlight 3 specific content creators I know, all part of the Max Roll team. They've each put in hundreds, if not over 1,000 hours, each separately, into Immortal over the course of alpha, beta, and now launch. These are guys who've been passionate about the game, excited for the game. They're absolute experts on the game. They're some of the top players in the world in the game. They're top in the leaderboards, they're top in the charts. And this is despite them being primarily free to play. They've maybe just dabbled a couple $dozen to test something out here and there, but they are, for all intents and purposes, free to play players. And the message I'm getting from all 3 of them is, while they enjoy the game, the pay to win is really starting to get to them. Echo Hack has a video in which he talks about how the game has hidden caps. He goes fully into detail on the numerous ways in which the game caps your progress, but I'll simplify it to say that if you play the game beyond a certain point, let's say about 5 hours a day, every day, then any additional time you put in on that day will basically give you no progress. You can keep playing, but there's almost no point. But that by itself isn't the biggest issue. The real problem here is that there's no such caps on paying. So as a free-to-play player, you're capped on how much progress you can make every day. But if you pull out your credit card, then your bank account is your only limit.
The message is very clear. If you pay money, you have access to unlimited power. If you don't pay money, you're not even allowed to gain power, even if you grind for 20 hours a day. In some cases, you can't even spend or gain the resources in the first place because of hidden caps. These hidden caps, an additional pay to win that has been added since the beta, is extremely disappointing. These things take a game that has the potential to be a really amazing game and just ruins it.
Now, I should specify that this will only affect the most competitive players who are able to put in hours upon hours of playtime every day. The average gamer is unlikely to ever have their experience negatively impacted by these soft caps. And these caps are in place to prevent botters from blasting ahead of everyone. Botting has always been a problem in the Diablo series, but since this game is free, no matter how often they ban botters, new accounts can be easily remade at no expense. So they want to try to dissuade botters in the very design of the game. But the problem here is that this system is preventing competitive free-to-play players from keeping up with the whales, the people spending obscene amounts of money. In last week's video, we spoke about how Wudijo was stomping whales in PvP. Well, he has now noticed that whales are catching up, and he knows it's only a matter of time before he will fall too far behind for even his incredible skill to matter anymore.
I'm having a blast with my free-to-play monk. Right now I am ranked #1 on the PvP leaderboards, at least on a monk, and I think maybe the second highest on the server even. This is on Dark Wanderer EU. And yeah, I've been playing a lot of PvP, basically. And obviously at this point there's almost no way for me to catch up to challenge drifts anymore, because challenge drifts are mainly decided by combat rating, and as a free-to-play player you will not have very much of that. So if you look at this here, I'm at 1049. I cannot even do Hell 2 that some other people started farming like half a week ago, which is, yeah, incredible. And yeah, it's just gonna be a bigger and bigger gap over time, compared to the people that actually, pay to win, basically. But I can definitely notice that, my win rate is going down. My chance to beat my opponents is going down. So when I'm in a 1v1 scenario, I do encounter a lot of pretty big guys in those battlegrounds. And it's really tough to really compete. So, for example, when you look at my stats, I have roughly 31,000 life, I have 2.7k damage, 225 resonance, so I get a bit of like base attribute bonus. And the thing is that you simply do not really gain any kind of meaningful power progression outside of legendary gems, which is the main pay-to-win mechanic. So this was pretty obvious from the start, but I think that the gap is simply too large. Overall, I think the gaps are actually definitely showing to be too big, and there is almost no reason to really try anymore.
You see, free-to-play players are very limited in how many legendary gems they can get, whereas you can basically buy as many as you want, as long as you have the money. Then as for Rax, well, he's just very discouraged and frustrated.
Yeah, the pay to win it's completely ruined PvP. Man, that's too bad because these battlegrounds are actually fun, but yeah, it's ruined. I think I'm considering stopping playing this game. I think I'm considering not playing this game anymore.
Now again, the average player will not run into the issues that a hyper-competitive player will run into. And I think fundamentally, Immortal just isn't a game that was designed to be blasted, to be played 8 hours a day every day. But when the top free-to-play players in your game are unable to compete with whales, then unequivocally, unambiguously, the game is pay to win. And of course, the answer to this is, well, just don't play competitively. Just play at your own pace. Why do you gotta beat other people? Why do you gotta go faster? Just enjoy the game, and sure, that's what I'm doing. I'm playing casually, I'm not buying power, I'm able to enjoy myself. You can play through the campaign just fine. I did so, I beat the campaign, I hit level 60. Never felt like I needed to spend any money. Nothing I could have spent money on would have sped up my progress through the campaign. The campaign is fun, the last act in Hell especially is really cool. If you're a lore nerd, there's lots of nice stuff in there. So that's all like 20 hours of fun that you can get completely for free. But I was really looking forward to the PvP in Immortal. I played a few matches and I really liked the PvP overall. But now, because I'm aware of the extent of the advantage that a whale can have over me, even though I probably have never been stomped by a whale, I always have niggling at the back of my mind, did that guy just kill me because he's better than me, or because he's richer than me? And that thought, which I can't turn off, is negatively impacting my fun. Diablo 3 legend turned Hearthstone streamer Kripparrian was very hopeful for Immortal back when it was first revealed in 2018.
So the best type of mobile game is totally free, not realistic, but like a few bucks here and there, particularly on cosmetic upgrades, that would be super. The other spectrum of that, there are mobile games out there, and I'm sure this is going to sound unbelievable, but they exist. I've played them. I've played many of them, in fact. There are mobile games out there that to stay competitive, top players are paying like thousands of dollars a month, like $10,000 a month to be really competitive in some of the mobile games I've played. It's absolutely mind-blowing. You know, if Blizzard pushes Diablo Immortal anywhere near that section, it will instantly kill the game and probably the franchise. So it's important that we understand this. So it's important that we have these essential demands out of the game. I think we are, as a community, in a position to demand that Diablo Immortal only has, microtransactions that are cosmetic, or maybe kind of like a subscription model. But really, I don't think there is a place for Diablo Immortal, given the community feedback, for it to be one of those heavy pay-to-win games. That's no longer acceptable. And, even though I've seen the comments, I've seen the hate you guys have given me, I say that because I understand it, but at the same time, I'm optimistic that we can make this game work.
Oh. And that's going to wrap up this week's video. But do be sure to have checked out last week's video in which we discussed a co-op mod for Elden Ring. Thanks for watching. Special thanks to my Twitch, Patreon, and YouTube supporters for making these videos possible. If you like what you see on this channel and want to support the creation of more content, you can consider pledging on YouTube or Patreon, and unlocking behind-the-scenes content, monthly virtual hangouts, and more. If you enjoyed this video, please share it, check out these other videos, and subscribe to join Riker's Raiders for more gaming content.